So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about today, and I wanted to go over a couple of the things that are happening on Warhammer Fest, and then we'll come back to some modeling stuff. Yeah, stop knifing everybody while I'm not even live. I mean, at least if you're going to do it live. You nerdy duck. All right, let's see if this will work. And go. And yeah, I know okay, so there was a lot of stuff going on. Lurking is fine. We love lurkers. Obviously, there's a lot going on this week with Warhammer Fest, and I could save it all and go over it on Saturday, but I want to talk about it now because I've got, if I'm crossing my fingers here, if everything works out and I get the guest that I'm trying to get for Saturday, we're going to have plenty of stuff to talk about, and we won't need to go over all of this Warhammer Fest detail. Zardoz, I feel like I'm everybody's supervisor. Okay, so first of all, this preview, this wasn't even Warhammer Fest related. It just happened. And yes, it's the new Pain Boss. It's not a war boss. It's not a pain boy. It's a pain boss. And as who was it? Yeah, there's too much Warhammer Fest for one day. Nerdy Duck, was it you who was talking about how it seems likely, possible, probable that Orcs might be the second Warhammer Fest 40k thing later on this week? I would say that's definitely possible. But yeah, this thing looks just super cool. He's got the the robot legs, the arm. We've got squigs doing weird stuff. That helmet is badass. So yeah, and obviously this is for the Beast Snaggas, and it talks about how they still use some technology and they upgrade each other and their creatures. So, and of course, not only does this thing have all these amazing details, a bag full of cybernetic parts on his back, then there's this guy. And how can you not want a unicycle Gretchen with cyborg arms, wearing a mask, no less? I mean, does that not perfectly sum up our pandemic and our lives? Yeah. I can't wait to find out how all of this stuff is going to be released. Because inevitably, when we see things like this, it's like, okay, are these going to be individual models? Are they going to be part of a, big boxed set, or, the new Orcs versus Eldar or something? So we'll see how all these things actually come to be. But yeah, this thing is adorable. I can't wait. I haven't actually shown Benjamin all of these new Orcs yet. I don't know if we're going to have to add all of these to our current Orc army. Probably. All right, so that was, like I said, that was even a free preview on top of, $250 starter box. It's quite possible. All right, then let's get into actual Warhammer Fest. So day one was Sigmar, which again, not our main focus here. But I did want to look at these really cool models for a second. So definitely the theme of day one were centaur-like creatures. Ooh, Rabid Wombat, you're betting for new Eldar. Interesting. Okay, yeah, we can definitely take bets and see who who guesses right. I'm gonna guess some kind of more Space Marines. Maybe Chaos Space Marines, maybe regular Space Marines, but it would be surprising if we went through a whole week's worth of new previewed content and didn't get Space Marines in some way. Now, I don't know much about Warhammer Fantasy, so this Kragnos guy, I don't know who he is. Don't know anything about him. All I know is that he's a really cool, gigantic centaur creature with some of the biggest horns I've ever seen in Warhammer, which is cool all by itself. I'm sure Zardoz can probably tell us more about Kragnos here. Or if anybody knows about Kragnos, let us know. So he's a big, crazy thing. He's going to have his own book, blah, blah, blah. They showed us more about, like, the recent fancy models. But again, none of this stuff is actually new. Just to remind you, hey, look, we've got cool models out there. But then there are more of these crazy vampire creatures. And again, so while at first glance this looks like a cool old lady vampire, note that she is also a centaur-like creature with a giant crazy bat centaur body. Lauka Vai. And she is part knight, part horrific monster. The Centaur of Attention, yes. He's a reimagining of Kolek Sun Eater, but they messed up his face. Interesting. Yeah, these models are great. I've already seen photoshops of this with the lady from Resident Evil on top. So that's out there, if anybody's interested. It says a hideous amalgamation of bat, drake, and humanoid body. So we've got that one. And then look, there's even another one. Whoever this guy is. I guess it's the same model. You can just build it in different ways, looks like. And then, of course, we've got the beast. And an old lady, a fancy old lady vampire. Bunch of wolves. These are pretty awesome. These half dead or fully undead. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure what the lore is, but man, the cool paint detail you can do on these things with the exposed insides and the glowing eyes. There's definitely a lot here to play with. I love that one with the half skull face. And then there's even, it has a little crow eating its flesh on the top. Oh, and you see the entrails spilling out. It's always a good note. All right, so that was, and then there's some video game thing, whatever. So that was day 1 for Age of Sigmar. And then, yesterday was Warhammer 40k. Now, again, the hardcore among you, you already know what's here, but we're going to go through it real quick. Because it was a day of the ladies. Starting off with a model that is already causing a fair amount of controversy. This is Morvenn Vahl, Abbess Sanctorum of the Adeptus Sororitas. So this lady here is in charge of the entire Sisters of Battle organization. She is a High Lord of Terra, which is some video game. I don't know. The High Lords of Terra are a council of humans who help run the day-to-day Imperium, essentially. That august body has changed over the years variously, depending on who is actually in charge. Now that Guilliman is back, Guilliman sort of took over even above them, but okay, now yes. So the big controversy is just like the other Paragon War Suits. If you look closely, you can see her arms of the actual lady are sticking out of the armor, and they have control devices that she's using to control the super cool, I like to call like a mini knight suit around her. Now, is it silly in general? Yes, just like so many other things in Warhammer. Yeah, and fair. Like I said, the Paragon War Suits have the same thing. The arms are extended out. But as I noted, you'll also see that her head, there's no helmet. So it's just that is just as dumb as every other leader model in the Imperium going into battle without a helmet on. I actually like the arms the way they are, because I like being able to see, okay, they did put some thought into how this physically could work, and it's not a mystery as to, if you've ever seen drawings of especially Terminator armor and where the person inside's body could possibly be in cross-section, it's ridiculous. Like, there's no way to figure out, without breaking the proportions of a human body well beyond even what Space Marines are supposed to look like, how you could actually fit inside Terminator armor and use it. So I like here that We don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about where her arms are, if they're going up into the shoulders or anything else. No, they're sticking out to control it. Obviously, she's got some sort of invulnerable save with a force field, so whatever. Yeah. And one reason beyond that why I actually like this design is because there are a bunch of sci-fi armors that have come before that have this idea. Now, this one is admittedly a little bit silly, but this is the E-SWAT armor from Appleseed, and again, there's a pilot inside this big thing. The pilot's legs just extend into the upper legs of the armor, and the arms are outside. Now, in this armor, the human's arms can do other things while the actual full armor is fighting. And this one actually has... I don't remember exactly how to do it, but it opens up a little bit so you can see the person inside or where they would be. And this is not nearly the only example of this in science fiction that has, again, a big suit of powered armor, but the arms are exposed. All right, maybe I just wanted to bring out another toy. All right, so we've got that lady. And if you noticed in the detail pictures, she does come with an alternate helmeted head. So you don't have to have her unhelmeted if you want. There's no option for her arms being tucked in, but at least you can slap a helmet on her if you don't want her completely exposed. She's got this heavy bolter shield thing. I think it's neat. I like it. But then again, I like Centurions, so you can't trust my tastes. Now, interestingly, we have more specific characters. So again, we're getting multiple named characters. So how are these going to be released? Is it going to be some kind of big box? Who knows? But here we've got... So this is an auto tapestry. I'm not sure... Maybe I missed something, but I'm not sure what an auto tapestry does. Does it... I don't know what it does to itself that it's an auto tapestry. I like all Centurions. All it says is, you may recognize Astrid Thurga from our most recent Battle Sister Bulletin as the bearer of the banner known as the Auto Tapestry of the Emperor's Judgment. Yeah, I don't know. And then this little one here is the Hagaiolator Agathae Dolan. Man, they are really working overtime with their names. And these are Holy Sisters. Now, these are cool. They're pretty much standard. This one actually really closely, the one with the auto tapestry, really closely resembles the standard bearer that came, the Space Marine standard bearer that came in the Indominus box. Very similar cut of the robe on top of the armor, which is kind of cool. I should have brought mine out. I don't know if her name is supposed to be reminiscent of Greta Thunberg or not. That would be kind of cool if it was, but I don't know. Now, again, these models they look great. There's a lot of detail. There's another model here that they did preview that, again, there was some controversy over. This is the Dogmata, and admittedly, the face on this one is a little cartoonishly scowling. That's a fair indictment of this one. She doesn't look quite as, I don't know, maybe a little bit less realistic than some of the other ones, what they've been going for. There's also something weird to me about her arms. The pose of the arms is it's so straightforward. I don't know. I think the model is cool overall. I think there are some issues with it, though. And I can understand people being a little hesitant about this one. And then they re-showed us the Palatine. So Palatine they previewed a while ago, and then it did come out in one of these box sets that also sold out very quickly. But she's going to be available separately for the first time coming up soon. And of course, the sisters are getting a codex that's going to have all of this stuff and more, which is great. Black Cavalier, excellent point. I am not saying that these models need to be smiling, but that scowl with the brows, it's a little intense, a little cartoony. And then we've got Celestian Sacresants. So we've got more melee sisters who look really cool. That mace is pretty awesome. Oh, look, she's got a pistol behind the shield. Oh, I didn't even notice it on this one. Yeah, so these are cool. Obviously, again, melee characters with pistols, so those are definitely going to be handy. I know there's another preview going on. We'll switch over to that. Oh, and look, you got some options here for a plasma or a flamer. And then, yes, the Paragon War Suits. So the standard version of that war suit we saw up at the top with the specific character. You can see the arms exposed, and then, of course, the arms with the different weapons. Maces, heavy bolters, flamers, swords, all the good stuff. We've got additional weapons up here on the shoulders. Probably have options for what you can put on there. I don't think we know the full loadout of these things yet. But yeah, I think these... Oh, yeah, see, this one's different. I think these are cool. I like them. Well, Darrow, I'm glad this stream is not in smell-o-vision. And then, again... Oh, and then... So that was another thing that everybody was upset about this preview, is that it showed us several things that we've already seen previewed before. Where they did not promise that every item shown on the Warhammer Fest preview would be the first time we've ever seen it. Give it a rest, people. Castigator tank, we have seen this previewed before. It looks freaking awesome. Yeah. So anyway, and of course the fact that it is Codex, and then some other books that are going on, the Warzone stuff, and blah 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 blah, and then a new terrain box, which actually looks really cool, especially because you get a map, or a mat. I always like terrain sets that have mats involved. Okay. Is today's Warhammer Fest stuff up, or is it just on the video so far? Because I'm not watching some live video. It's probably not up yet. No, they're still streaming it. Boo. Well, we'll have to wait, because I'm not live streaming another person's live stream right now. Hey Velvet, how's it going? Yeah, look, the sisters need another cool tank, and they've got one of the best looking new tanks we've seen in a long time. Nerdy Duck, you are absolutely correct. There's no pleasing all of the Warhammer nerds, because for one reason or another. All right, so they're still doing this live stream. That's fine. We'll catch up on the news later. We will have stuff to talk about on Saturday. Well, yes, Darrow, I could stream someone else's live stream, but I don't want to do that. I want to be my own man. Plastic Gaunt's Ghost. There were Gaunt's Ghost models once before, right? I don't think plastic. Okay. So let's get back to some fun stuff, because I want to talk about this past Saturday on the Warhammer War Room stream. I had a guest. It's free content. I know, but I want to make my own content. So we had a guest this past Saturday. You may be familiar with her. Jessica Lynn Verdi. And she completely blew up my plans for this night. Oh yeah, and I don't think I ever changed Nightbot since Saturday, so it's probably still going to advertise her anyway, which is fine. So the idea was that this first night. Now I always planned on eventually getting more nights, right? You get one, you're gonna want more. That this one would be a sonic night. I was gonna add, sound effect touches to it as far as parts, specifically, looking at these speaker parts. And then Jessica had to go and say, why don't you do your night house so that each night is focused on a different instrument or different part of a musical performance? Goddamn, if that isn't a really good idea. So, what that leaves me with is this night, this first night, is essentially going to be the speaker night, right? So the plan is we're going to have the boombox. We're going to have the boombox missile pod. I've already shown you how that's going to look. We're going to have this speaker on the shield, on the tilting shield here. And then I'm going to build the arms so that one set of arms, and again, I'm going to magnetize so I'll be able to swap things out for real things. But the arms are going to end in these actual speakers that I'm going to clean up and put new mesh over. And then maybe other decorations as well. But that should look pretty darn cool. I'll find a head that has something on it that could be a speaker. We looked at the some of the alternate night heads that Games Workshop has done in the past. That I've found some of those out there, so I'll get one that has, again, some sort of a speaker element that I could put mesh over and turn it into a speaker. So that is what this night is going to be. And again, I'm not really concerned with exactly how I'm going to play this in a game, because as I told some of the other friends that I'm doing Warhammer stuff with, I don't really plan on ever playing Warhammer again with an opponent who's not going to let me run my cool, silly, gimmicky knight as sort of whatever I want it to be. If this thing has giant speakers on its arms and I proxy them as Avengers Gatling cannons, who's going to stop me? Nobody that I'm playing against is going to stop me. Let's put it that way. But again, I'm going to magnetize, so I should be able to swap things out for regular mundane parts. Who knows? Maybe one day my house worth of Sonic Knights will make an appearance on Hyper. You never know. Hey, Erdinsk, welcome. We're talking about the Crazy Knight project and how much crazier Jessica has made it. All right, so now I have to look forward to the other knights that I will be acquiring, building, converting to be the rest of the band. I'm going to need, as I'm thinking about this, I will need at least 3 more knights to be guitar, bass, drums. An interesting thing would be to get a knight and try to do, I don't know. I mean, I don't want a knight that looks like it's singing. I can't envision a way to make that look cool. Erdinsk, that's kind of what we're looking at this point. So I don't know about like a vocalist knight. Maybe something down the line. But yeah, at least 3 other ones with the different kinds of instruments. Although, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Let me grab something if I can reach it. Shelf divers. Okay, just a few shelf divers in that. My taste in music, very eclectic. I like different things. I am a fan. I mean, I haven't listened to anything of theirs recently, but I have liked Korn in the past, and there are some Korn toys. This one is a very long time ago. But if you know about Korn and the singer, he actually has a microphone with a stand built in that is based off of H.R. Giger designs. So maybe there could be something there. Maybe. Actually, I don't know. That might be TOS. So you get the idea of what this is. But yeah, it has the microphone as part of her elongated skull shape. But again, there are nipples on that, so I'm going to leave that off screen. Okay, so one thing I thought of is this. Now, yes, this is from Palladium. Boo, Palladium. But this is the Lancers Rockers expansion sourcebook for the Robotech RPG from many, many years ago. And the idea in this is that human freedom fighters have figured out how to use sonic weaponry against the Invid. There's a lot of weird stuff in here. The Invid have joined up with a rogue Soviet separatist. There's a lot. But I wanted to grab this book and see if there was any inspiration for how I might do my sonic instruments and weapons for my knights. So we've got some sort of thing rocking out there. This is the super weapon. 3 different parts built in. It does have an anti-gravity generator so that you can actually wield this thing, which is pretty cool. Because I don't know exactly how I'm going to make a guitar playing knight other than, obviously sourcing a relatively in-scale guitar and just strapping it to it. But, maybe some, Eridinsk, good question. Palladium Books, Palladium Games. So here's a helmet with some sonic stuff on it. More instruments. We could do an entire stream talking about Palladium. One thing I thought is really cool is that the drummer has this backpack with these drum pads on it, and you press a button or do a voice command, and these have anti-gravity generators. So they pop out and they deploy around the soldier and they hover in midair so he can play on them. I always thought that was a really neat way of having a drummer on a battlefield and being able to actually do things. I mean, of course, if you've ever seen a marching band, there are drummers in marching bands with portable drum equipment, snares, and so forth. So anyway, I don't know if any of that stuff is going to be exactly applicable, but it's some things to look at. Okay, briefly, Palladium Books, if you're unfamiliar with them, they've been a role-playing game company for many, many years. They've had moderate success over the years with, mainly their main line is Rifts. Rifts is an RPG that takes place on Earth in the near future. Everything goes bad, and there's essentially an apocalypse event that opens up a series of the aforementioned rifts to other times, other dimensions, other planets, other places, and in come aliens, magic, dragons, you name it. Magic is reawakened, and it's one of these games that is just whatever genre you want it to be, you can put in Rifts. It can be fantasy, it can be sci-fi, it can be horror. You can mix it all together in one. There is zero balance in this game because they just release tons and tons of books without ever going back. So the latest book might have something super powerful compared to something that was, in an older book. The owner of the company is a guy who is a real micromanager and has lots of ideas and wants to work with a lot of people and make more books, and anybody who has an idea for a book to take place in the Rifts universe will say, okay, go write it. And then inevitably that person, oftentimes maybe a rookie in the industry, either will take a long time to write the book or will come back with something, and Kevin, the owner, will be like, that's not exactly how I would do it, so I'm going to take over that book and rewrite almost all of it, and it'll be 5 years late, and it's going to have my name on the front of it instead of yours, but eventually it'll come out. And this has happened a lot over the years. Palladium is also the company that did the Kickstarter for the Robotech miniatures. And that was a massive debacle. Not 100% Palladium's fault, but 90% Palladium's fault. So we're not huge fans of Kevin and the company in general, but they do have some interesting content. I am a fan of Rifts. I have like 100 Rifts books. I have all of the books from this series. It's complicated. But yes, lots of really good art in their books. So if any of you have any ideas on how to do these nights, or if you ever see a 3D print or something that I might be able to use, by all means let me know. Someone suggested looking at dolls and Barbie accessories. Like if there's a rock band Barbie or something that might have instruments and things that would be in scale with a knight. And I thought that was a really cool idea. I'm definitely open to looking at different things. There are also different kinds of knights, as we talked about a few weeks ago. This is the standard knight, right? So you can get this in Imperium versions, you can get it in Chaos versions, you can convert one to the other. There's a bunch of different weapons it can have. Then there's the Valiant Castellan Knight, which is a little bit bigger. Not hugely bigger, but a little bit bigger. An Iron Maiden doll out there. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't have a lot of music and band-related collectibles, but I'm definitely going to be looking into them now, trying to find more. There's unfortunately, a long time ago, I got a review sample of the set of Revoltech figures for the anime Detroit Rock City, and I used the guitar from those toys on my Demon Prince. I think it would be a little bit small for a knight, but I gotta look for more of that stuff. Oh yeah, yep, and there are a bunch of Kiss toys out there. Yeah, I'll have to check the scale. But yeah, anyway, if anybody sees or remembers anything, definitely let me know, because I'm gonna be scouring the internet for for parts. So there's the Valiant and Castellan that's a little bit bigger, and then on Forge World there are a couple of other kinds of knights. There are the Questoris knights that are a little bit bigger than these. They're beefier, and then there are the Carastus knights that are a few inches taller, and they're tall and thin, more dynamic as far as one has like a spear and a shield, and you can really pose those knights more than these. So do I want to try to mix in some of those? Do I want to go with all traditional size knights? I don't know. I got a lot to think about in this project. Oh, a full lighting rig? That'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm interested. I'm gonna look at everything and see what there is out there that I can kit bash and smush together. So the other thing I want to talk about is with knights. Also, what if I don't want to use just actual knight models, but I want to look at other things that I can convert into being knights? And I've talked about some of these before, but I haven't ever actually had them on stream with a knight, or at least most of a knight. This one is obviously not quite complete yet. But one thing is this model from Golem Arcana, which is actually pretty darn close in size. Overall size, at least. So I think there could be something there. Now this one, obviously not not Sonic themed or music themed in the least. It is a very interesting, cool style with like the bullhead here, a bunch of crystals and gems and armor, a little bit Egyptian, I guess. It's got the shoulder pads already, like anything in Warhammer, especially the knights. So this, the roadie, or the bouncer. So this might be something. And as I've said before, I think the first thing I would do is I would need to trim off. There are little people, and they're not like the sculpts on these, on the little tiny people, aren't super great. So I would probably just trim these off. There's one here, and there's one in this in the back. It looks like a big daddy. Yeah, they're. And I mean, it's got two just heavy arms, so I guess I could play this as a rampager if I was really worried about rules. I'll just tear off this base. It came loose anyway, so I could just pop this off, put it on a regular base. But even just that, I mean, I think it's pretty much, I think, playable as is. So that's definitely an option. I don't know, maybe I could figure out a way to put an instrument on this in some way, or speakers or something. But, so there's that. So that's cool. The other one is the big stompy robot from the Mars Attacks game and Kickstarter. Obviously a bit taller than this knight. But like I said, there are Carastus knights. And I'll have to look and get the exact measurements. But I think this is pretty close to one of those, maybe. Anybody know offhand how tall a Carastus knight is? You know, and it's got a melee arm and a gun arm, like a lot of the knight variants do. It's a little thin and unadorned, but, you know, I can fix that. But that too, definitely a possibility. I wonder if there's a way just to get the armor parts for a knight without getting the full kit. I'll have to look into that. There might be. So another possibility. It's about yay tall. It's about give or take. I don't know that I've ever actually seen a Carastus knight in person. I don't think in the current rule... Actually, I think in 9th edition, in the current rules, I don't think any of the knights are particularly good. But again, they don't have a 9th edition codex, so all of that could change. And clearly, this project is not worried about how well these things actually play or what the rules actually are. Yeah, Lord Talnak, if I was a Thousand Suns player, this could, yeah, definitely more easily fit into Thousand Suns stuff. That's true, yeah, because the Forge World, all of the Forge World stuff got the new book. And then, of course, there's my long-suffering Cthulhu that at one point I was thinking of doing as a... He's way too big to be a Demon Prince. Possibly a Keeper of Secrets based on the height, although this model is much bulkier, much wider. But I don't know, maybe... There is an idea at the back of my head that I could also possibly convert this into some kind of a knight, mainly through weapon pieces or armor pieces attached to it, and then some sort of weapon arms. I don't know. So this, if you haven't seen this before on my stream, there's a company out of Spain called SD Toys. SD like San Diego. SD Toys. And SD Toys, most of what they make is distributed and sold in Europe. Hey, Emily. Good morning. They do some sales here in the United States. You can get some of their stuff through previews and comic book stores. They've got a billion different licenses and some non-licensed stuff like Cthulhu here. At figures.com, the editor there and I, were friends with the guy who owns SD Toys. He's a super nice guy. There's some really great people in the toy industry. There are a lot of them that are not so great, but the guy who owns SD Toys, super, super cool guy. Loves figures.com. We do a lot of stuff to preview things. Anyway, before he was selling things in the United States, he would still come out to major toy conventions and show stuff to, potential buyers, to press, and on some occasions he would actually give us, myself and again the editor at figures.com, he would give us samples and things to do reviews or to take pictures of. So this is a prototype. So this is resin. It's very heavy. You can see that it's... I have the tail piece and the other wing that I would just need to fix or do something. But this is an actual resin prototype of a Cthulhu. Eventually, it was a toy. I think they ran the final version in vinyl, which you can buy from SD Toys. But this is essentially a one-of-a-kind resin prototype. So very rare. Don't know. I never knew exactly what I wanted to do with it. Obviously, I could paint it and just leave it as is, or I could convert it to be something in Warhammer. I originally thought, it would be cool to have Cthulhu as your demon prince, but like I said, it could be a demon prince, but he's way, way bigger than a demon prince. So, and again, I'm not above modeling for disadvantage, because again, I'm only ever going to play with friendly people anyway. But okay, cool, Nerdy Duck, thanks. We'll take a look at that in a second. And if you don't know what I mean by modeling for advantage or for disadvantage, essentially the idea is hobbies like Warhammer want you to be creative, convert your models, use other things to build them up. In some cases, if you were a serious player and you were not the nicest person, you could try to essentially cheat with your models. So for instance, if this is a regular knight and I was converting up something else to be a knight that was, only this tall, I could be accused of modeling for advantage because this is shorter by an inch and a half, and therefore this model would be harder to see behind terrain, and I could use that to my advantage in the game, essentially to cheat. Not great. Now, the opposite is something like that, modeling for disadvantage, where the actual in-game model is only supposed to be this big, but I'm using something that's way bigger and can be spotted easier around terrain. Now, technically, could you use that for your own advantage as well, that you can see over stuff? Yeah, but the game really works that the larger you are, the more things can see you, but harder for you to see other things. Oh, Black Cavalier, it's $40 for that Cthulhu on Amazon. It's a nice size. This is not a small toy. Okay, let's see what today's Warhammer stuff is. So anyway, those are some of my ideas looking at other models and things I have around. Will I actually get around to actually doing any of those? I don't know, maybe. Transition. Oh yeah, Emily, your test is over. You did your best. Okay. You ran out of time. Yeah, timing is tough on tests like that. I'm sure you did great. Okay. So today was Black Library Day. And we've got Gaunt's Ghost. Now, I must admit, I have not read any of the Gaunt's Ghost stories. Now, I know, they're supposed to be great. It's on my list. I have a friend of mine owns all of them in actual print, so I will get around to it eventually. But yeah, it's a we've got the commissar here and a ragtag group of soldiers. So the definitely putting a human face on the Imperium and people fighting horrible monsters. Of course, the models are great, as you would expect. Yeah, actually, I don't know any of these people, but they look cool. And yeah, the fact that they're doing these in plastic means they're going to make a whole bunch of them. So what does it say here? So Gaunt's ghosts are the protagonists of the long-running series, depicting the trials and tribulations of Ibram Gaunt and his ill-fated Astra Militarum regiment. They're back, redesigned in plastic to create a reimagined set of miniatures that brings each of the key characters from the early Gaunt's Ghost books to life. I mean, clearly you can just swap these in for your standard Astra Militarum models in their units. Does it specifically say if these are going to have their own unique rules? Or if you can use them in Kill Team? That'd be interesting to find out. Because it's not... These aren't enough models to make up a real squad. Obviously, you can play a commissar by himself. Alright. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, it doesn't really say. Who knows? Yeah, exactly. If they're doing them in plastic, the idea is that, yeah, there'll be a bunch of them. And why? Why does... This is an interesting question. What does it mean if models are being made in resin versus plastic? Right off the top, typically speaking, something that is made in plastic, they're going to make more of. Now, why? Why is that? This goes back to toy industry stuff. The process for making molds for something that's going to be run in resin versus something that's going to be run in plastic it's a different process. Something that you're going to run in resin, you can make a mold more quickly and in some cases cheaper versus a plastic mold or a mold to make something in plastic that is designed to be run more times over and over and over again, if that makes sense. That's why most specialty boutique garage toys where the artist is just going to make 10 of them and that's all there's ever going to be and he's going to hand paint each one, those will typically be made in resin because you can make a mold to make resin toys relatively, quote unquote, relatively easily. But if you're going to run something in plastic, it has to be a much more it's much more of a process to make a mold to run things in plastic. So again, the idea that, okay, if Games Workshop is making the actual molds for these models to be run in plastic, it means they are doing that with an eye toward running a lot of them. There you go. All right, we've got books. Oh, that's cool. So Black Library will do these things with not just books, but a whole set of, you get a book, you get a tin, you get pins, and all sorts of junk. That's cool. And then, of course, just like a bunch of extra things. Then we've got the Sabbat War Anthology. I don't know anything about this, but I'm sure it's great. Again, another cool kit with little bits and pieces. Urdesh, the Serpent and the Saint, with the Iron Snakes. So again, a chapter of the Space Marines that are in the fiction, even if not well represented in the rules. You get a bookmark. Everybody gets a bookmark. Volpone Glory, a Blue Bloods novel. I don't know. I don't read a lot of current 40K fiction these days, but these all look great. Yeah, Rabid Wombat. I mean, again, so that's the thing. Even Cursed City, Games Workshop spent, I mean, let's say Games Workshop spent $100,000 making all of the molds to run all of those Cursed City models in plastic. They still have those molds. They are big metal pieces that are in a factory somewhere, and they're just there. They could make more. And we know also, think about it this way. We know that Cursed City is going to have expansions. We saw with Blackstone Fortress that some of the expansions had models in it that were in the original box, right? There was the set of Traitor Guard again that they reused. Yeah, exactly. So we might see more of the models in other ways. Not just the models. Yeah. Well, true, right. But I mean, again, relatively speaking, anything in paper or cardboard is going to be easier to produce than something that's injection molded. In general. Okay, now this is the big one that I'm excited to see. The Siege of Terra news. And we get a book on the Warhawk. Now, going through the Siege of Terra, and again, this is something that we knew from overall lore for a long time, but there's this ever-growing rivalry between the Khan and Mortarion. So that's what you see here on the cover. We know that both of them are going to survive unless something really weird happens, but hopefully they get a cool fight out of it. And then we've got Warhammer Crime, which I haven't read any of it. It seems relatively interesting. They had some previews for this that came out at really unfortunate times, let's put it that way. There was a short story that they were promoting that featured... Yeah, so there's a line of books of fiction that's Warhammer Crime. So it's hard-boiled crime stories set in the Warhammer universes. And they had a preview for one of these that they released online, and it was about a police-type character, and in this preview, essentially it was a heroic story about this police officer catching a criminal and beating up the criminal, and like this preview came out right in the midst of protests against police violence. It was a whole thing. I'm not blaming Games Workshop and the Black Library. I don't think they were trying to say anything. I think it was just unfortunate timing, but it wasn't great. So anyway, I'm sure these books are good. I mean, they don't put out a lot of bad stuff these days. A lot of these anthology books are interesting because they get a bunch of different writers on them, and it's really cool to see some of these, I don't want to say small writers, but these maybe up-and-coming writers would be better. And one of them, actually, the name is right here on this book, Mike Brooks. Mike Brooks is getting to be one of the most prolific Black Library authors lately, and he's fantastic. His stuff is really great. He is... I don't remember his full bio, but he's a disabled writer, and yeah, I don't remember all of the, but he's a really neat dude. He's in some of the Facebook groups I'm in. He's very easy to converse with on social media. He's really cool, and he writes a bunch of different stuff for Black Library, and we love to see stuff like that. Mortarion makes you think of Naeem. That's fair. I mean, if you've watched any Death Guard content on Hyper, that is a fair thing. Grim Repast, Quillian Drask. Yeah. So again, I don't know a lot of this current 40k stuff, but we got ladies in the Astra Militarum because of course there are ladies in the Astra Militarum. We might not have models for them, but they exist in the lore and in the fiction at least. Necrons get a little bit of love. Yeah, lots of Astra Militarum stuff. All right, cool. Good. I know, women. Watch out now. Let me get rid of that. Could that short story have been targeted to the Nazi? Aaron, is it possible? I guess it's possible. I don't think that was. I don't think that was the intention. Let's put it that way. It's possible. Related to Siege of Terra, I talked briefly on Saturday. I'm not going to give too many spoilers, but I just finished the most recent Siege of Terra novel, Mortis. That is. I'm trying to think about the right way to say this. I hated it. I disliked it strongly. I don't know. It might have just been timing. I had come off of, as Erdinsk knows especially, recently I've been blasting my way through the Expanse series. And if you've read any of the Expanse books, the style of writing in that, it's really quick, right? I mean, chapters are short. It bounces back and forth between different POVs. They're really good. I recently read the first 3 novels and a bunch of the other short stories. And then I picked up Mortis by John French. I've read other John French novels before in Horus Heresy and in Siege of Terra, and I've really enjoyed them. I don't know what it is about this book, but I really did not like it. I have notes, so if anybody ever cares, I can tell you specifics about this book and what I thought about it. One of the big issues is that we get these major battles during the end times of the Horus Heresy, but everything is told from the point of view of the good guys. Like, clearly they're fighting Chaos Space Marines and there are other characters around, but we don't ever get to hear like their point of view except for at the very beginning of the book, and that was really weird. It's really weird to get a book about fighting and it's only ever from one point of view, or the point of view of the good guys, because again there are different characters in it on the good guy side, but yeah, I didn't like it. The good guys, exactly, the good guys. Now, on the other hand, after I finished that, I started the most recent novella in the Siege of Terra series, which is a new Alfarius book by Mike Brooks, who I just talked about. And I am about 50 pages in, and I absolutely love this book. I've never been a big fan of... Hey, you need to be quiet, please. Thank you. I've never been a big fan of Alpha Legion, and I am Alfarius in everything they show up in, but the writing is so good in this one, and the way it presents Alfarius as like a really understandable character. Like I said, I'm only 50 pages in. It's a novella for Black Library, so it's only 200 pages, but I'm very excited to continue this book. So yeah, I can recommend. Have I ever seen Continuum? I don't think so. Which one is Continuum? There's so many sci-fi things out there that have similar names. Continuum TV series. 2012 to 2015. No, I don't think I did see this one. Time Travel Cop Show. Cool. Nope, I don't think I saw this one. Isn't everything set in Vancouver? Well, everything's filmed in Vancouver. I don't know if it's set there. No, didn't see this one. Should I? Is it good? See you, Dara. Thanks for hanging out. I'm always open to suggestions of things to check out, things that I may have missed. All right. So we finished the main body. Again, for now, obviously there's armor pieces that'll go on after the priming and the painting of the skeleton. I'm getting masks from the warp to try out. I'm going to finish the boombox. So I just have to glue those metal pieces together. Oh, air dance, that's cool. It is interesting as it does a good job of making you question who really are the good and the bad guys. That's cool. I definitely do like stories like that, where where it either it changes or you're not really sure. So the next thing, technically, to do for the night are the arms, right? Now the thing I need to do for this is I need to do some planning to figure out number one, how to do the magnets and where all the magnets are going to go. I guess those are two things. Because the idea is there are ways to put magnets here so the upper arm can move, and magnets in the elbow joint so those weapons can move and you can pop things on and off. So actually, let me show you here. So a magnet inside this housing here, and then another magnet here where, or I guess right here, where the weapon mount meets the arm mount. And I was actually looking at this a little bit last night, and apparently there are a lot of different ways of doing this with different sized magnets, depending on how you want to put it together and how little you want those magnets actually exposed, which I'm not so worried about, because again, if there was a squat cylindrical magnet in there, like, you wouldn't really know because it's going to be painted over anyway. So I'm not super worried about that part. But yeah. So essentially I have to figure out how the upper arm stuff is going to be done with the magnets, and then figure out how and where I'm going to attach these two arms. Now, thankfully, this is a giant magnet on the back of this thing. So I don't have to build a magnet into this. I just have to make sure that the proper other side is going to be in the arm itself, and just pop those on. So I'm going to watch some YouTube videos and do some research on this off stream, because it's going to be kind of boring. Go buy any magnets I need, and then hopefully be able to continue work on this next time. And again, this kit comes with a bunch of different, well, nearly all of the standard arm options for standard knights. But I don't know offhand how many of the arm parts it has. So that's a shoulder, and that's a shoulder. These are upper arms. It looks like we've got... So here are more arm pieces. These are all the weapons. We've got another arm pieces here for the different weapons, and that's it. I imagine what this gives me are maybe only two of the shoulder mounts, and then one pair of melee arms and one pair of gun arms. That's what I'm going to assume. But again, I've got to do a little bit more research. Yes, a Ned Saints fan. Yeah, so this is a knight. And again, knights have a lot of different options depending on what weapons you want to give them, what specific version of the knight you're playing. And then again, if you're playing an Imperial version or a Chaos version, Chaos is what this one is going to be. So yeah, so I've got homework, but I have never been one to shy away from a little research and a little homework. Yeah, I'll add continue. Is Continuum streaming somewhere? I'll take a look, see if I can find it. It is cool. Or it is. Oh, it is. That's for the night. Neat. I know. I mean, I could convert. I could have a Jonathan Davis knight. He's about knight size. Just put some armor on him. That'll be funny. Ooh, actually, let's see. Can Emily, it depends on what the homework is. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I haven't done homework for other people at times. I mean, not that I would ever do such a thing. Ooh, Freak on Unleashed. That would be, yeah. Oh man, there are lots of corn titles that would be good for things. So look, that's kind of cool. If I cut off, that would be interesting. If I removed the top decorations, if a carapace could go on here. I don't know. I know. I have so many options and so many things to think about, both for your homework and my nights. But clearly, this is all going to be a very long running process. I will I will attempt to at least get this night done soon. Again, this is community funded, so I do want to get this done at some point. The larger house worth of nights will, obviously take a lot longer. Math, Spanish, English, probably other stuff. Well, I'm decent at math. Never did any Spanish, so I'm not a huge help there. English, I'm pretty good at. Oh, Eridan's okay. That's a good option. All right. Looking forward into the future. Oh, well, look at Rabid Wombat. Math minor. That's cool. My dad was a math major. I got some of that math ability. And it all went to Benjamin. He is great at math. Benjamin is 6, and the stuff that he's supposed to be doing in class, super little kid stuff. He's doing his own advanced math things. And he was playing a game yesterday that had math stuff in it, and he's like trying to do things that are still way beyond his stuff. And he opens one, and it's multiplication. So I'm trying to explain, this is how it works, blah blah blah, and he sees 10. He sees tens in there. I'm like, yeah, and you don't have to worry about those. You can do the small numbers. He's like, no, but 10 and 10 times 10 is 100. I'm like, how did you know that? He just picked it up and ran with it. I was like, great, you're right. Let's do that. Oh, Nerdy Duck got a math degree as well. Awesome. Okay, Emily. Everybody, prepare for your instructions and assignments from Emily. Like I said, looking into the future. No myths in video games today. Turns out we've got some Cub Scout stuff we got to get done. Speaking of Benjamin. No stream tomorrow, but Friday I will be back with Figure Friday. I have an idea to bring out all of my big Robotech toys. Not 100% sure I'm going to be able to do that, but that's the idea at least. We will see. But whatever it is, it's going to be interesting on Friday, so make sure you tune in. Saturday, we'll be doing the Warhammer War Room stream. Again, I've got a hopefully the guest can make it. I'm still working on it. Very cool guest that I'm trying to get everything locked down on. And then Saturday night, Homebuddy's stream is Janelle's, and wow, it's gonna be a doozy. Nerdy Duck, yes, we are working on our Pinewood Derby car. We're a little bit late, so we got to finish it up today to get it ready for the weigh-in. But you are exactly right. There may or may not be a Warhammer model involved in our Pinewood Derby car. We will see. Okay, we're not going to raid. I'm just going to end the stream. So, yeah, and the popcorn is actually good. I should see if any of you need popcorn next year when we do it. No, you don't have to buy popcorn from me. Okay. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. I'll see you back here Friday morning. And that's all I have to say. And again, get ready for homework coming from Emily. All right. Bye, everybody.